What's up, everybody? Tony Jigsaw Cutillo here. Fantasy Firebox. Saturday morning. Getting it in. Nasty day outside. Don't mind the glasses. Sorry for the reflection. Got a couple contact issues that I'm kind of working through with right now, but it's all good. We'll get there. Adam checking in already. What's up, Adam? Saturday morning. Love the new logo, Adam. Love the Superman Jalen Hurts logo. I'm digging it. So, as always, everybody knows here on Saturdays we talk Major League Baseball, and we talk, probably got a couple more weeks of this on a Saturday where we talk the late slate tonight. There's 9 games on the late slate on Saturday nights, which again, for everybody out there just tuning in, new viewers, so you understand the reason why we do this is so you have time to be able to watch whatever the lineup formations are, who's in, who's out, get your, all your family duties throughout the day, get it going, and then you get some time to watch this for about a half hour. And then once you get to be able to watch this, you can kind of pick and pluck out of the guys that we mentioned. So, like I said, usually you get like a 4, 5, 6 game, but tonight's 9. I think it's very good. I'm still repping the Phillies gear, even though the Phillies have been killing me lately. That's okay. I still bleed, red and blue, obviously, that you see the colors in the background. So I can't get away from that. Big things ahead, just so everybody knows, a lot of new shows coming out. So please, one thing you need to do is, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Okay, that's the most important thing. You got to subscribe to the channel. We're going to have all new shows for football. Obviously, so many different things going on, whether it be Win Daily Sports, whether it be the Sharp app. Check them both out. I will be starting a DFS Academy for anybody watching right now who wants to learn about DFS. And again, not everybody's formulation of their lineups is correct. Okay, everybody has something different. So I want to give you guys what I like to do and how I formulate my DFS picks, right? So that'll be probably like a 10 or 15 part series. That'd be 5 to 10 minute videos about lineups, about players. All going to be different things going on here. Win Daily Sports. Fantasy Firebox will always be Saturday and Sundays. We got some college football DFS going off on the Sharp app. The alternative edge on the Sharp. It's all over. One thing you need to do is, for Win Daily Sports, follow us on all social formats so you can get into all the talk. Adam already checking in with the LA Dodgers. Matt Muncy, which LA Dodgers is one of the teams that I like tonight in a late night stack. Okay, let's just talk about that real fast. Going up against Colorado Rockies at home in LA, going up against John Gray, who is not good away from home, right? He's not good away from home. He's good in Colorado, but he's not always good. He can be hit. He averages 3 to 4 runs per game given up and about 6 to 7 hits. So that's the kind of guy you want to attack, especially with a Dodgers lineup. Now, you mentioned Max Muncy. So here's what I will say. Let's start right off like we always do. We'll get right into the core, okay? The core of what we're doing. We'll go arms first, then we'll get into the core. Okay. And again, everybody's core could be different. Everybody's arms could be different, but we just give you a little added flavor here in the morning. So right off the bat, I think we got to look at the arms. I think Lance Lynn is an absolute must, right? Lance Lynn, you has to be in your lineup. Number one, and not to quote my man Tulak, who just came out, if you want more in-depth insight, go check out WinDailySports.com. Go to Picks and Pivots by my man Tulak, who is unbelievable. He breaks it down. He will give you the arms he's looking at. He will give you the stack potential. He'll give you the averages. Everything you need to know is in that article too. Go check it out. We all have different opinions, but you'll notice that some of us kind of stay local on certain players, and that's because we're seeing the same thing. So go check out Brian today before you check their lines, because he's got articles that are good for you throughout the day, the early and late game slate. So make sure you check it out. Now, Lance Lynn, under $10,000, up against the Chicago Cubs, who have already mailed it in, traded away all their talent, right? That's a guy you got to look at. He has to be in a lineup. I can't get around it. Okay, you can't get around Lance Lynn. Okay, I know they have Valdez as the top guy, but for me, for my money, and that's because Houston's going up against Texas, and Texas stinks. I get it. But if I can get a guy who's averaging more points and more strikeouts and save $600 going up against another team who's kind of packed it in Lance Lynn, sign me up all day long. Put me in, coach, as they say. He's been in positive points, for the last 5, 6, 7 games. Only giving up, listen, his last 2 starts, only giving up 1 run and 4 hits. Listen, Lance Lynn is the real deal. Chicago's making a run, obviously. We talked about it in the preseason. So he's definitely a guy that you want to lean on today for sure in that lineup. Adam checking in, talking about Adam Wainwright. Okay, Adam Wainwright is back and forth. Yep. Valdez. Yeah, Valdez. Listen, I'm just not paying 10-6 for Valdez. And Logan Webb is another guy. I'm just trying to save myself some cash, and you'll see why, Adam. You'll see where I'm going with this. Okay, so the next guy I'm going after is Marcus Stroman. Now, Marcus Stroman plays on the New York Mets, and the New York Mets are still, crawling over there in the end, in the East, in the NL East out there with Miami and Atlanta and Philly, right? It looks like Atlanta's probably going to win the division. But Marcus Stroman has very good K potential. And he's going up against the Nationals, another team that's kind of traded everybody away, but he's home. He's home, and he's been averaging 23+ his last 3 starts. The last time he faced Washington, he gave you 1 earned run. That's all he gave up, 1 earned run. Okay, struck out 8 and gave you a nice 27. Okay, so for me, again, I'm looking at value. I'm not taking the top dogs. I'm taking the guys a little bit lower because I could save on that. Look, if you take Valdez at 10-2 and you're looking at 89 right there, come on, man. That's simple. It's $1,300 in savings. That's the difference between a guy at $3,000 on your bench to a guy that's $4,300 that you're going to get a lot more potential out of and a lot more value. So you have to look at the numbers and you have to look at the way we do this, right? So I'm going Lynn and Strowman today. Or I should say tonight for the 9-game late slate. They are my 2 guys that I'm leaning on. Eric, man, what's up? Eric, my man, Big E Rob, checking in. Yo, looking good, E. Every time I see you, look like you're living life. You're healthy. You're doing good, man. As always, I don't forget all the times that, all the people coming up, right? When we do these shows, man, it's fantastic. I love seeing it out there. Never forget you, homie, as always. And I'm glad that you keep grinding away as well. And life is treating you good. So looks like you're having a lot of fun. So thanks for checking in, buddy. Adam says, I saw Price too. Might put him in a line. Adam, all about price. It's all about price, right? And then we're going to go David Price. Now, again, it's all about price and more, listen, all about price because of value, but in the name as well. I know where Adam was going with this. David Price, I just have a feeling, okay? Now, I get it. Trust me. I'm not saying I want you guys to lean on David Price, okay? Colorado Rockies have a nice young team, but they're also a different team when they're away from Coors Field. And David Price is a solid veteran in a pennant chase, okay? And now I understand he hasn't made it more than 5 innings his last 4 starts since he's rejoined the rotation. But the one thing I'm looking at is he hasn't given up a lot of hits. And he's slowly going up in pitch count, okay? 51, 67, 75. He's only averaging 1 walk per game, which means his control is very good. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of miles on his arm this year, and he's only given up an average of 3 hits in his first 4 starts out of the pen. So I'm telling you, for my money, if you're looking at a sleeper that could possibly save you $2,000 to $3,000 off of the top dog, why not go with a guy who's in a pennant race at home who has proven he's been able to do it? Listen, David Price goes out there tonight. This is why I'm looking for David Price tonight. I'm looking for him to give me about 6 innings. I'm going to push the nozzle up by 1.5 innings. I'm looking at about 7 strikeouts and a win. And if you're going to get 20 to 25 points for $7,000 in David Price, it's a huge value play. So again, if you're feeling ballsy, if you're feeling frisky, and you want to go out there, and you want to take that risk, I think David Price is the guy that's going to give you the lowest risk and the highest reward in the rotation, man. That's just my opinion. Again, I like to throw out a sleeper every now and then, and for me, David Price tonight is my sleeper. So let's go full core, okay? Let's go core at who we're looking at. And listen, Shohei Ohtani has just been listen, he is great for baseball in every sense of the word, with everything going on. And you hear about, with the rosin bags and the steroids and the performance enhancing drugs. Obviously, that was years ago. And there's so many different, the instant replay and the slowing of the game. There's so many things with baseball that have hurt this sport. But Shohei Ohtani has been a breath of fresh air. He is giving you that it potential. And let's be quite honest here, talking about the steroid era, Shohei Ohtani has given you on-demand, must-see baseball highlights, something that has not happened since Barry Bonds, where everything has stopped on a national level to be able to see a guy perform. Nobody has done that since Barry Bonds, and right now, Shohei Ohtani is doing that for the LA Angels. And again, tonight, going against a bullpen game in San Diego at home in LA, I think he undoubtedly gets number 42 tonight. Okay, I know he's 6,200, but he should anchor every DFS lineup, in my opinion, tonight. Okay, he obliterates any pitching, to be honest with you. But now that you're going up against a bullpen game and you're playing at home, listen, I'm all in on Shohei Ohtani tonight. He is my number one anchor of my lineup. And then we're going to go with a guy who's just returned. Now, let me give you an idea of what I do. So I'm going Alex Bregman, and I'll tell you why. Houston is one of my stacks. I Kobe Allard for Texas gives up a ton of home runs, gives up a ton of hits. Okay, he's not a guy that you want your line. Listen, he's 3-10. We know what his record is, but all you got to do is look at he's given up 6 home runs in 3 games, and he's given up 17 hits in 3 games. Okay, and he's only struck out an average of 3 per game. This is not a guy that's going to blow anybody away. So he's definitely a guy that you want to go up against, whether it be home or away, it doesn't matter. So the Houston Astros, obviously, everybody sees that. DraftKings sees that. So what do? They bump up the numbers, right? So when you look at Houston and you say to yourself, I want a bunch of Houston stock. I want a lot of shares in that lineup. Well, if you're going to go with Alvarez, he's 6,100. You're going to go with Altuve, he's 6,000, right? You're going to go with Gurriel, he's 5,400. Carlos Correa is 500 or 5,000. And then when you look at the lower tier guys like Michael Brantley and Kyle Tucker, they're $41,000 and $4,000 respectively. So I was looking for the happy medium between the top guys and the low value guys, and get a guy in between that's going to give me maximum value and has the opportunity to stand out and save me $1,000, or I actually say $900 off that top guy price. And that's why I'm going with Alex Bregman. So Alex Bregman, obviously, the history. He can carry a team when he's hot. He's that kind of player. Just came back to the lineup after having about 2 months off, okay? And again, he's been in positive point production ever since he's come back. He's averaging about 8 points per game in the 2, multi-hit game already, and he's struck out 2 times. That's what he's going to do. He's kind of a power hitter, right? So don't expect this guy to, all of a sudden to be a 300 hitter, but Alex Bregman is the guy in the middle of this lineup, in my opinion, especially with price point, that you could throw in your core and feel safe about and save yourself that $800 to $900 off the top guy in Houston. So I would definitely, for me, that's why I have Bregman. He's part of my stack, but he's the middle of the tier guy who gives me, in my opinion, the most value for the price to help me adjust my lineup accordingly later on. So that's why I am going with Alex Bregman as part of my core. And then the same theory happens to arise right here with Mookie Betts. Again, the Dodgers are a team I'm looking to stack, right? Against the Colorado Rockies. We've already talked about John Gray. His home and away splits are putrid. He's not the same pitcher away from Coors Field. And this lineup in the Dodger land is absolutely starstruck, right? We already know that. It's very hard to pitch against. So, my opinion, I go to the Dodgers and I look at, do I want to pay off for a Max Muncy, who Adam mentioned earlier? Do I want to pay off for a Trey Turner? Do I want to go Corey Seager, right? All these guys. Justin Turner, same thing. So what do? I take the lowest guy off the tier and Mookie Betts at 5,300. Why do I take Mookie Betts? You guys know, because he does it all. He's not just a one-trick pony. Okay, just came off the DL, the 15-day DL. Okay, on the 26th, he's had 2 games under his belt. Only has 1 hit. Okay, only has 1 hit. But again, you're waiting. When you come back off that list, it's a couple games before you get your legs in. And what a better way to get back off the schneid, so to speak, and get back into that positive point production than against a guy like John Gray. And again, it's only a couple $100, and I'm saving you Mookie Betts off of Max Muncy, but I think Mookie Betts, that couple $100 along with, your pitching savings, along with your Alex Bregman savings off the Houston stack, that turns into a really nice core. And I'm going to tell you why. It brings us to Manny Machado. Now, Manny Machado to me is an absolute steal today. Okay? He's an absolute steal. He's at $4,700. That's a steal to me. Okay? Max Muncy. Manny Machado should not be under $5,000. He just should not, especially going up against the LA Angels today. I'm sorry, right? And I know he hasn't been setting the world on fire, but he still hasn't been giving you anything like a 0 or, I get it. Like, I'm all about points. I'm all about points. And when I look at a guy like Manny Machado, who hasn't been exploding lately, that plays such a good lineup, and, this happened to us with Castellanos in Cincinnati. When they dropped him all the way down to about 4,000, 4,200, we jumped on that wagon, and it paid off for us, right? We were getting that low, the high-value guy for that low number that was being able to be inserted into our lineups and added other pieces of the puzzle later on, which were the big bats, right? It gives you the opportunity to add that $6,200 anchor like Shohei Ohtani. Right, so Manny Machado to me, not only is he the big value on the slate, but for me, for my money, he's in the core. I got to put him in my core, okay? Because again, it's all about who they are going to face, right? It's all about right now and this could change because this is a late game, but right now they're going up against Jose Suarez. Right, so right now, if just looking and breaking it down, he's averaged at least 1 home run his last 2 starts, doesn't strike out a ton of guys, gives up a lot of hits, 6 hits per game. This guy can actually be hit around. We already know that. And I expect Manny Machado to break out. And again, let me preface this by saying, if Manny Machado for 4,700 only gives you a 5, okay, when you're expecting 15, again, you only paid 4,700. So you'd be much more upset if your $5,500 value guy only gave you a 5 as opposed to a 15 because you weren't able to save that $800 and be able to make that up in the back end. Okay, so again, let's see how this works out. Okay, but this is where I'm going. This is my core: Ohtani, Bregman, Betts, and Machado. And I know it'll always be different than some of the others, but that's what we want to do. We want to make them different, right? Adam says, I thought Machado was going to do good when the Padres got him, but he's doing great. Adam, I'm almost exactly in the same boat. I was never a Manny guy. I thought he was overpaid. I do, but he actually played very, very well, right? He's a hothead. He's all about himself. We already know what kind of player Manny Machado is, but he's actually performed very well in San Diego. They got a great lineup out there. Great talent around him, so he doesn't have to be the guy, and that's when these guys creep up and they're that much more valuable. So yeah, I completely agree. Now let's go into some value. And right away, we give you the orange, we give you the core. Let's go into some value plays today. And I love these plays. I do. So when everybody understands, when we talk about value plays, we're breaking down these slates to guys that either shouldn't be priced at where they are or where their price point is currently against the pitcher and the matchup that they're facing and the team, whether it be field condition. There's so many things that go into it. But guys that based on their value number is an absolute find to get in your lineup after your core. Okay, so let's go right with Lewis Robert. And I love Lewis Robert. I do. He's one of my favorite guys. The Chicago White Sox are a team filled with guys like Lewis Robert, right? Guys that are under that $4,000 value. A guy like Brian Goodwin's another one. They traded for Cesar Hernandez, Luray Garcia, right? These guys are key when you're building your solid lineups, right? You get into your core, then you're dropping down to that $3,500 number, under 4,000. Lewis Roberts, 3,900. Okay, but Lewis Robert does it all. He's another guy who hits for average, right? He steals bases. He gets on base with walks, doesn't strike out a ton, right? His last game, 5 at-bats, he's 3 for 5. Gives you a double, gives you RBI, gives you a walk, gives you 21. His last 5 games, 21, 16, 3, 15, and 7, right? Positive point production. To me, again, going up against the Chicago Cubs, okay, in a great pitching matchup, okay, for what I should say for them, for Alec Mills. Okay, not so Alec Mills. Are you worried about Alec Mills? Alec Mills has given up 9 runs in 2 games. He's also given up 19 hits in his last 2 games. 19 hits. Okay, that's listen, that's almost 10 hits per game this kid's given up, and he's only been able to handle 4 to 5 innings per start. This is a guy you want to attack with a guy who's been able to do it all. Not just a home run guy, a guy that gets multi-hit games and uses all fields and uses his entire repertoire to get on base. So this is why I like Lewis Robert at 3,900. Okay, I think, again, great value pick in my opinion with Lewis Robert. So check him out. And then I got Josh Donaldson, right? We got to go. Josh Donaldson's been hot. Okay, Josh Donaldson has been hot. Okay, now obviously, again, anything could change because right now there is rain in the forecast. Okay, in Minnesota, so we'll see how that plays out. Okay, but Josh Donaldson has been very hot going up against Adrian Hauser, who, listen, he's not going to blow the world away, right? Now he's been decent. He's only given up 1 earned run in the past 3 games, or I'd say past 4 games. Okay, he actually has been pretty good. Doesn't strike out a lot though. That's what I'm looking at. Even though he's given up only 1 run in the past 3 starts, he doesn't give up a lot, or he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. So I think that plays into the Josh Donaldson effect, because Josh Donaldson, we all know, is a free swinger. Okay, he's a home run type of hitter. Okay, and he's been absolutely electric. Okay, absolutely electric over the last week of play. Okay, 24, 21, 21, 3 home runs in his last 5. He's hot. When you see a guy hot like this in Josh Donaldson, you got to jump on him. And his salary, only $3,600. So he could be that guy tonight that really sets you apart with low ownership, with low, with a low salary and a high value. So you have to look at that. And I think, again, his numbers haven't moved. Right, he's 3,700, gives you 20, gives you 21. Then they drop him down 100, still gives you 21. Right, then they drop him down to 3,300, only gives you 4. Then they bump him up 4 to 37, he gives you 20. And now they drop him down 136 when he's hit 3 home runs in his past 3 games, or past 4 games, and also 5 hits in his past 4, 2 multi-hit games in his past 4. Josh Donaldson is extremely hot. Jump on the wagon, 3,600. He possibly could be a candidate for going long under 4,000, which we have a couple candidates for that later. But I think Josh Donaldson will definitely pay off tonight, and I think he hits a bomb, man. I'm telling you. I think he's going to go back-to-back, game to game. Josh Donaldson, get him in the lineup, man. I'm telling you. I've really got that good feeling about my man Josh tonight. Then we're going to go to the LA Angels. My man Alan checking in. Why are we talking baseball in Philly the end of August? Looking for some. Yo, Alan, listen. Fantasy football is tomorrow. Okay, so just so everybody knows. So we still want to make some money, right? So we got to make some money on Saturdays to get our bankroll up for Sundays, right? So we're going to use Saturdays to get that bankroll up, whether it be fantasy baseball, whether it be college football later on. You check out my man Mark on Betting for Breakfast on the Sharp app. He'll give you all the insight for Zero Saturday today for college football. But today, Alan, we're talking about football, or we're talking about baseball, just so we can get some bankroll up. But tomorrow, buddy, fantasy football is all about Sundays, right? So tomorrow morning, we'll be talking all fantasy football, getting those plays together for I would say next week, but it's actually 2 weeks, but still it's going to be here before we know it. Two more Thursdays, man, and we're in. So let's get back to the value plays. And we're going to go right into LA Angels land, and we're going to go with Jared Walsh. Now, again, when you're looking at these plays, you got to look at the number one, and then you got to look at who they're going up against. And like I told you, this is a bullpen game, in my opinion, for San Diego. So Jared Walsh has been good all year long. He's like Mountie in Baltimore. His numbers just doesn't change, but he's been very, very good. Now, he's also streaky, okay? So for me, in a bullpen game for the Angels, with Shohei Ohtani and Alana, with that protection, Jared Walsh today is a good play. Again, he's coming off 2 games where he's given absolutely nothing, just 2 bad games, 0 zeros, right? But again, you're paying for a guy 4,000, 41, 4,200. The zeros don't kill you because obviously you're a professional and you understand how to build your lineup around that. But if Jared Walsh goes off for that 18 or 12 like he did the previous 2 games, then we're talking about maximum value. So today, in a bullpen game at home for LA at 4,200, I really like Jared Walsh based on, listen, against Baltimore, he's 30 points he gave you, and then his last 2 games, he gives you nothing. So he's ready to get back off the schneid, and he's ready to connect against a bullpen game in San Diego against a very lackluster pitcher. Okay, so again, it's always about people. You got to really look at the pitchers. Now, obviously, right now, whether it be Strowman, whether it be Weathers, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's going to be a game that you can exploit from the offensive side of the ball, which is why I like Shohei Ohtani, and I like it's kind of like a mini stack, right? So you think about that: Shohei Ohtani, Jared Walsh, you get them in there for about 11,000. That's why you go with Strowman, and that's why you go with Lynn. Or maybe you just go with Lynn and you get Price at 7,000 as a sleeper, and you drop that $3,000. You put that into Jared Walsh, and essentially for $1,400, you have a really nice stack between Ohtani and Walsh. See how I did that? That's what you got to look at. Again. So then, again, let's go with Moncada from the Chicago White Sox. We talked about Chicago with Lewis Robert, against Alec Mills, against Chicago. But Moncada, again, is another guy, in my opinion, who doesn't get enough love because he's streaky, right? When guys are streaky, they don't get a ton of love. Okay, it happens. I understand it. They piss people off, but he's right at that tier, right? He's at that $4,000 number. Okay, so he can get really hot at the right time. But the thing I like about Moncada is he's positive point production. Okay, his lowest game has been 5 over the past 5. 5 over the past 5, and his number has been consistently dropping. He started off in the beginning of the week. Last week at 4,700, and now he's down $700 to 4,000. I am ready to pounce. I'm pouncing on Moncada because I think today is a day where he goes long, and today is a day where he gets those RBI numbers up against a very good matchup that he can exploit in Chicago against the Cubs, against Alec Mills. I think this is going to be a really good day for Lance Lynn at the helm and all the bats for the Chicago White Sox lineup. So let's move on and let's go down. Again, as always, let's look at what we got next is the FFVP. So I love the fantasy Firebox value play. It's spectacular. So the best part about doing this is picking that diamond in the rough, right? That gem. And that's so Yadiel. I love that name, Yadiel, right? Yadiel Hernandez. This is who we're going with for the Washington Nationals. And I'm going to tell you why we're going with him. Okay? He's going up against Marcus Stroman. I understand that. Marcus Stroman does give up some hits. Even though we haven't lied, he does give up some hits. But Yadiel Hernandez is part of a team, okay, that's trying to find their new identity with all the moves they made at the trade deadline. So he's given every opportunity to get his spot in this lineup. Okay, so over the last 6 games, he's gone 7 for 22 with 2 home runs and a triple. Okay, so and he's getting his way into lockdown territory in the starting lineup. Okay, so again, $2,100 for essentially a guy who's giving you positive point production 3 out of the last 4 games, 13, 14, and 5. The baseline I always say is from 7 to 10. Okay, he's hit safely in the past 6 games, giving you multi-hit games, also giving you extra base hits, and he mixes it up. Triples, doubles, home runs, RBIs. I love this play tonight for the FFVP. Okay, listen, this kid has got nothing to lose. right? And this is the best opportunity when you find these gems in these lineups, okay, against pitchers that can be hit up against, okay, for very, very low value. Again, could be the difference between winning all that cash. So Yadiel Hernandez at 2,100 for the Washington Nationals is the fantasy Firebox value play of the day. Check him out and get him into your lineup if you can fit him. If you can fit them. But if you get to that lineup build and you get down to that, $2,500 range, 25 to 2,000, and you're like, you know what? Give me the 21. Boom. I'm going to throw them in there, see what happens. As long as your core is solid of Ohtani, Bregman, Betts, and Machado, like ours is going to be. And as long as your arms are solid, you got nothing to lose. And this could be a really good pick for you going forward. Let's go value catcher in Max Stassi. Okay, Stassi, again, he has been up and down, but at 3,700, we talked about this slow, sneaky angel stack. Okay, we talked about that. We're going to talk about it again. These are the kind of value plays at the catcher position that I love. Any guy under 4,000 at the catcher play, to me, is a really good play. Okay, is a really good play. Now, obviously, you might want to go a little lower. Okay, I don't value catchers that much, but I think Max Stassi tonight, again, in that sneaky, I keep calling it sneaky because I always talk about it, but the sneaky angel stack. If you could throw a Stassi, Walsh, and Ohtani play out there, I'm going to do one lineup tonight, just a small lineup, couple dollars with Stassi, Ohtani, and Walsh as that little stack. And I really like it. I do. I really like that stack. I think that could be very productive tonight. So we'll see. Again, 2 of the last 3 giving you double-digit points at the catcher position, multi-hit games. I think, again, catchers are hit or miss. They're either going to give you a 0 or they're going to give you double digits on some of these guys. And I think tonight is a double-digit game for Max Stassi. At 3,700, I think he's a really good value at the catcher position. Okay? So let's go bombs away. Let's go bombs away, and we're going to end this out with the bombs away segment. These are guys that we pick that are under $4,000 that we feel will go long tonight. Number 1, in my opinion, I'm going Dominic Smith at 3,200. I love this play. I love this play. And again, this is only for going long, right? This is only for going long. So remember that. So this is all about guys who are going to hit home runs. That's all we're picking. Guys are going to hit a home run. So if you want to take this to your prop market on your DraftKings or your FanDuel, whoever you're associated with, and you want to check it out, go check it out. Dominic Smith, who, in my opinion, is a lethal left-handed home run hitter when he connects, has not hit a home run in more than 13 games. Hasn't hit a home run in 13 games. He's only $3,200. That's it. He's only $3,200. Okay. So again, I'm not saying to put him in your lineup, but what I am saying is to me, against Sean Nolan, he is a guy that I am going to pick to go long tonight. Okay. Listen, what has Sean Nolan done in his last 2 starts when he's actually faced live pitching? He's given up 2 home runs, a home run per start, 7 earned runs given up. Again, this is a Washington Nationals team that basically already threw the flag in. I like this going long with Dominic Smith for the Mets for 3,200. I do. I'm gonna hit some plays on that as well. And then we're gonna stick with that same game, and we're gonna go on man Josh Bell. Josh Bell, listen, he's all or nothing. Right? Josh Bell is all or nothing. And again, he's going up against Marcus Stroman. Okay? And just because I like Marcus Stroman doesn't mean I don't think Marcus Stroman can give up some long balls. He's given up 4 home runs in 5 starts. Actually, he's just given up 1 game against San Francisco where he's given up 2 home runs in that game in 7 innings. Okay? I look at Josh Bell as an absolute freak. Okay? If he could just get everything together. And he's actually been very good in the past 4 games. He's been in positive point production. I actually would think about possibly putting him in your lineup if he fits today at 3,600 because he's $600 off what his normal value is. Okay, but he's only hit 1 home run in 6 games, but he's hit safely in his last 4 and had a multi-hit game, in that span as well. So Josh Bell, 21 home runs today, $3,600 against Marcus Stroman. I think you can go long today. Josh Bell for 3,600. So I think that's another good under 4,000 to go long. And we already mentioned Josh Donaldson as well at 3,600 to go long for under $4,000. So there you have it. We finished it up with that. Again, I've been trying to keep these shows, under 45 to 40 minutes to give everybody an opportunity to watch. Today is baseball day. Obviously, let's recap real fast and see where we're at. So we got our core. We're going tonight. Again, this is the late slate tonight. 9 games starting at 7 o'clock. Shohei Ohtani, Alec Bregman, Manny Machado, and Mookie Betts. Manny Machado, big value. Talk about some value plays at Lewis Robert, Josh Donaldson, Jarrett Walsh, and Mr. Moncada in Chicagoland. We're going with our FFVP, or Fantasy Firebox value play, which is Yadiel Hernandez. Love it. Check them out for watching. Yadiel Hernandez could do something special tonight. Then we're going to go with our arms. Obviously, Lance Lynn, to me, is the cream of the crop, followed by Marcus Stroman. I like that play. And if you're feeling frisky, if you're feeling balls, you go out there with that David Price and see if he can turn back the clock 5 years back and be a stud on the mound against Colorado Rockies. And then we're going to go at maximum value at Max Stassi at the catching position at 3,700. Remember, could be a nice sneaky stack there with Stassi, Walsh, and Ohtani. So check that out. And then we go bombs away. Guys that we're picking under 4,000 to go long. We already mentioned Josh Donaldson. Now we're going to go Dominic Smith for 3,200 and Josh Bell for 3,600. Man, I'll tell you what, man. Adam checking in, great show. Adam, have some tremendous fun at that wrestling event next week. I can't wait to hear all about it. And as always, guys, follow at Win Daily Sports on all social formats. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tons of things going. I will be putting my schedule out very, very soon for football season, for fantasy work. I can tell you right now, it looks like fantasy football talk will be every weekend, again, on Saturdays and Sundays, right here on Win Daily Sports. You can catch me on Win Daily Sports Monday and Wednesday nights, talking about whether it be live locks, whether it be the week ahead, me and John Jansen, going about 6 o'clock on Win Daily Sports. You can check me on at Fox Sports The Gambler on Tuesdays, where we're going to go long on a final judgment, where we'll talk all things fantasy, obviously. And then we'll have the Thursday night picks on Fox Sports The Gambler for Thursday Night Football. And then we'll have the Stars and Stiff Report on Fridays on Fox Sports The Gambler. Also on Fridays, I will be hosting the Alternative Edge, okay, which will be a show where we take prop betting and DFS strategy and mix them together and see what we come up with. That will be on the Sharp app. Okay, and then, it gets even better on Saturday after the Fantasy Firebox. We're going right into a college DFS football show with me, my man Mark Drumheller, and my man Joel from the Sharp app. A lot of big things on the horizon, and then we will be having post games at Heat Ratio Sports for the Eagles at 7 o'clock. So give us a follow over there at Heat Ratio Sports for all your local talk and things of that nature, which is a fantastic variety of talent that we have assembled over there, from hockey to golf to baseball. I mean, listen, that's the thing. If you just want normal sports talk and you're not into the sports betting aspect, go check us out at Heat Ratio Sports as well. And as always, like I say, it's Saturday. I know it's a little rainy here on the East Coast. Do your best to stay dry, and you have all day long. Right now, it's 10 o'clock. You literally have about 7 hours to watch this, to formulate your lineups, and to try to get some money tonight, to build that bankroll for NFL season. So as always, everybody checking in, Adam, my man, as always, checking in, my man E, my man Alan, and everybody on Instagram and everybody on Twitter checking me in and hit me up as well. Everybody, as always, 2 words, or you got 2 goals. Number 1, follow at Heat Ratio, or follow at Win Daily Sports for everything fantasy, okay, that I'm going to produce. Follow at Fox PHL Gambler for everything fantasy that I'm going to produce. Follow at Heat Ratio Sports for all the local sports talk that myself and my team is going to be able to produce, and follow at the Sharp app for all the sports betting that everybody's going to produce. But as always, right here on the Fantasy Firebox, Win Daily Sports, subscribe to the page, and everybody stay safe, stay healthy, And I'll catch you right here tomorrow talking NFL.